All right, here we go. Go Sports Radio. Carver and Cuthbert from Borrelli's Taproom in Long Beach. On the island, on a Wednesday, new week of CNC down here at Borrelli's. A little stormy today. Rain coming in. Hopefully enough that can cancel softball tonight before the kids have to go out there and play in the rain. Well, I don't want to be. The reason I say that is I don't like when it's a day like this and it's like back and forth. It's a little in between. We're going to play. We're going to not play. And then you get out there and it starts just, raining on them and it's cold. Like it ruins the game. Like I'd rather they play on a nice day.
Kids are looking forward to it, man.
I know, but it's.
My son's got a game tonight too.
I know,
see him, man.
But I know that. But it's miserable to be out when it's a day like this.
Brother, I know.
And I'd rather they play on a day.
I used to manage just like you, buddy.
I'd rather they play on a day where it's 60 and sunny out and we get a nice day instead of playing in this mess, which couldn't they play yesterday? Yesterday was beautiful.
Yes,
Couldn't play yesterday.
Was beautiful yesterday.
So it is what it is. It's a very, very busy Wednesday here. Knicks Sixers game 2 tonight, as the Knicks have just been an absolute smash crew these last few games. We'll see if that can continue this evening at the Garden. The Yankees are also just nonstop smash crew, just taking everybody down. They don't lose. I mean, they just do not lose right now. They've been playing excellent. The Mets have even won 3 out of 4. They got snowed out last night in Colorado. So they're going to play tonight and then tomorrow. So they're going to get, hopefully, these games in, although it's a cold night at Coors Field down there. We have the Stanley Cup playoffs. Second round is underway. Finally, a game 1 with the Sabres and the L'Habitant tonight. Yay. Canadians and Sabres, old Adams division rivalry here for round number 2. Several other things we'll discuss as well along the way. I do want to say a couple things when we get to the Yankees about John Sterling passing away, of course, earlier this week, sadly, and a bunch of other. But Mike Carver along with Paul Cuthbert. Hi, Paul. How are you?
A pretty exciting derby race the other day, too.
Yeah, a little golden tempo, right?
Tempo, baby.
Couple of,
you had them, right?
I should have, and that's just, so I was telling you last week, however, the horse guys all come in, and because I don't follow it, so I just listen to the horse guys. And sadly, one of my main horse guys gave me 3 horses, and that was one of them. But I didn't play it because one of my other guys gave me his horse, and it was the same as one of his other picks. So I was like, all right, 2 guys have given me I think it was the 15. I was like, so I got to play the 15 because both these guys in. And then our friend Joe Lisi, who was on with us a few weeks ago, he tells me he likes the 19 golden tempo. And then I immediately said, I got to throw this guy out. He's not winning. Joe picked him. And so I had a couple people tell me 19 and I didn't play it.
Did Joe stick with him?
Oh, Joe hit him. Yeah. Joe had the golden tempo. Yeah. So good for
Joe.
And Joe, hey, like
is he on his way to Cancun?
Well, somebody made the comment to me. He goes, I think it was on X or something. He's like, you give Joe a lot of business about being wrong. He seems to be right a lot of it. Joe may get these big hits. I go, I got to give Joe credit. He's been good with the horses. Maybe I should make him a horse guy now. Maybe Joe's a horse guy.
You're not saying Joe's like the character in Bronx Tale.
Oh, the mush. The mush. Get him out of here. Get this guy. No, Joe is not. No, Joe's not that. Joe is not the mush, and he had golden tempo, and a couple of other guys had golden tempo. I should have chased, and I did not. So it is what it is. But it was a hell of a race. Great race. Come from behind race. Very fun, very exciting derby that we had on Saturday. But why don't we start things off today with the Knicks, Paulie, because they are playing tonight, game 2, which, come to Borrelli's Taproom tonight because they've had the watch parties. The watch parties have been outstanding. What'd you have for game 1 Monday night, Tommy? Good crowd game 1 Monday night for the Knicks? Oh, well, after everyone needed a rest after the weekend, and they knew that the Knicks were going to win by 30 also, which is honestly, Paulie, now what they've been doing. I mean, this has just been absolute clean out smash jobs by them.
They won tonight,
though. So you think tonight, Philly little response this evening?
Oh, well, tonight's the Dolan game with the extra gate.
Come on. Give me
you.
a break.
They're going to dominate the game.
You win,
Probably
you're going to
into
get
the
another
early
extra gate in the
stages
Eastern Conference
of the
Finals.
third
Those are the
quarter.
extra
I'm
gates.
telling you right now.
Yeah, come on with
Tonight's
that
the Dolan
talk.
game.
Don't say that.
6 is by 8 tonight. And then they go, then the Knicks don't lose another game and go to the conference finals. And then they're going to go to the championship series. There's no doubt.
Look,
But tonight's the
130,
Dolan game, man.
137-98. They beat him on Monday night in game 1.
Smash job.
And that was, remember, this was a great spot for the Knicks. You had the Sixers coming off the game 7 with Boston on Saturday night, emotional win, all of those things. And the Knicks took immediately advantage, and they just completely pounded them in the game. I do agree that you will get a better Sixer effort tonight. Obviously, getting a little bit more footing in this, but I still fully expect the Knicks to win tonight. I think they will win at home and go up 2-0 in this series. The way that they're playing right now, they unlocked something early in the middle of that Hawks series when they got down 2-1. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now. They're playing with great structure. I love the way they're running things through Cat. I love the Brunson's, they're just doing things a little bit differently than end of the regular season in those first couple games against Atlanta. And that's enough for me where, look, Philly, incredible win over Boston. And man, what a gutless choke job by the Celtics in that series against the 76ers. Just absolutely ridiculous. But the Sixers, great win for them. And I do think they're going to have some gas in this series. I do. But I think they're going to go back to Philly down 2-0.
Agree on all points as far as the Knicks. Knicks are going to absolutely win the series. I think you bring up a great point. They definitely.
There's push coming from Philly.
Yeah, but I just don't think they have enough weapons to counterbalance the Knicks. Again, tonight they'll win. They'll win tonight. But that'll be it. Then it'll be all over because, like I said, tonight's the Dolan game. And then
well, here's where I'll give you. You want a little path to Sixer victory tonight? Is you want a little path to Sixer victory?
I don't need a path. I know what's going to happen tonight.
You know. Please tell me so I can get on. Please tell me so I can get on the app and put it in. What's going to happen tonight?
It's Dolan's game 2 at the Garden, so we can get the extra game 5 back.
Well, he's going to get that anyway when the Sixers win down in Philadelphia.
No, that's not going to happen
anyway.
No, because I tell you what. Look, the Knicks have turned it on here. The starting 5 has been great. And they've just everything from defense to just spreading out the offense. I mean, Brunson obviously doing his job. Brunson, you got everything from Brunson the other night. You got layups, you got fadeaways, you got 3 points, you got a full game. Hart, Bridges, everybody just playing excellent defensively. And then off the bench, you got Colin coming off and Accordi and all these other guys. And it's just a well balanced thing. And Brown has done a fantastic job, including Cat in there and everybody else. It's too much. It's too much. They're going to smother the Sixers, except for tonight, and then the rest of the series they will smother them, and it's over.
But this is going to get me to like a further point, which I kind of started to bring up with you last week, and we didn't know at that point what was going to happen in the Sixers-Celtics series or anything else. Now that I've seen what's happened, I can say this even further with more, solid on it. If the Knicks don't make the NBA Finals this year, it is a awful job by them. They were the preseason favorites to win the Eastern Conference with the roster that they have and what was around them in the East. And if you look around right now, they are up 1-0 on a 7-seeded Sixer team that they are better than, that they should beat. And Detroit and Cleveland are on the other side, 2 teams that they are also better than, and they should beat. Boston is out of the way. They have to go to the finals. Now, I'm not saying they should win the championship because, as we know, Oklahoma City's a wagon,
Oklahoma this year.
and we understand that. But that would be taking a step further than last year. They made the East Finals last year, lost to the Pacers. Make the coaching change. The streets and the roads are now open for them, Paulie, that it would be a bad job if they do not make the NBA Finals at this point. With their team and their path, they should be there.
Agree. The only way they don't get to the finals is if all 5 starters go down with injuries. I mean, if 1 or 2 guys go down, you've got enough guys on the bench. Well, no, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're just, as a full team, and Brown's just got everything operating. They're all buying in. They're playing incredibly great defense as well, too. It's a big part of this turnaround here is the way they've been playing defensively. And you brought up, like I said, last series, Atlanta was the kind of team that was going to give them a little trouble. They adjusted. Brown made the adjustments, and these guys just turned it up a few notches, a couple extra gears, and they've been nonstop since they've won that series. And it just flowed over into Game 1 against the Sixers. And again, except for tonight, the rest of the series they will smother the Sixers again as well, and they'll easily beat Cleveland and Detroit, as far as I'm concerned.
Easily is strong, but they're much better than these teams.
Yeah, well, like I said, the way these units are playing, bench and starters are playing right now, and again, if they stay healthy, they're going to the championships. There's going to championships.
Here's the one thing that I will.
That's just my opinion, Mike.
I think that they are going to go to the NBA Finals. I think that they are head and shoulders now, especially with the way they've played over the last 4 games. They are head and shoulders in my eyes, the best team in the East. This is what people expected back in October. You're getting it. They're doing it, and it would be a very disappointing end if they lost to one of these 3 teams instead of going to the NBA Finals. Can't expect them to beat Oklahoma City if they get there. Now, hey, Pacers took them 7 games last year. I mean, this is not like, they're not this is not the Jordan Bulls of the 90s. Like, they can be beaten, but I think it would be a very tough chore for the Knicks to win that.
Well, when you get to the final series, I can definitely see, I wouldn't say Oklahoma would sweep the Knicks.
No, I wouldn't either.
I think at that point, you've played so much basketball and put so many miles on your sneakers that you're going to have those tired games where you're going to give up 1 or 2 games in a series, and it probably will go 7.
They're not going to go 16-0. As good as the Thunder are, they're not going to do that. And they played like a B game last night against the Lakers and won by 12 or 13 or whatever it was. They play.
So back to your point, the best competition that Oklahoma is going to face is most likely going to be the Knicks.
Well, I don't know about that. Look, we'll get into some of the. Well, I think the Spurs, despite losing Game 1, will get out of that series with Minnesota. I do believe that. Okay. It's going to be a lot harder than people thought it was going to be.
But they're not beating Oklahoma.
Well, they beat them a bunch in the regular season. So this was now, and I agree with you. And I would do that too, because that's been kind of my thing the last couple of months is this is a young Spur team with an all-world. Wembanyama is insane. Like, he's just so good. But him and the rest of those guys have not been through this yet. And you saw a lot of that in their Game 1 loss to Minnesota the other night. There was some situations down the stretch in that game where you saw all the experience of the Minnesota Timberwolves and all the playoff games that those guys have played against a very limited playoff sample size with the majority of the guys on the Spurs. And I think that when they get through this series, which I do still think they will, you will see that even more in the Oklahoma City series going against a team that just won the NBA title a year ago. And they had to go through this too. Before Oklahoma City won last year, they had a couple of tough outs in the playoffs. And the Spurs are a young team. Mm-hmm. And despite their regular season success against OKC, I think it's asking a lot for them to go and beat them in a 7-game series here in this playoff. I think they'll learn lessons from a 7-game series, potentially against the Thunder in the West Finals. But all in all, the Thunder will win it. But it might be their toughest task. I think that the Spurs series would be tougher on the Thunder than whoever comes out of the East.
It looks like they're going to take the Lakers out in 4. Let's just say they do. Let's just say
have a wager on that. So,
and you can see probably San Antonio, Minnesota, maybe going 6, right? Possibly 7.
Sure.
So that's even more rest that Oklahoma is going to have, which is going to be used for them as far as the conference championship,
right?
So that's it. Swinging back to the Sixers here, Embiid just doesn't have the support.
Well, I'm going to get to Embiid now,
okay?
Because I'm sure you saw him after the game, crying like a baby. Did you see any of that?
No, I didn't see it.
So after and it's always something with him. He's an incredible player. He never plays, which is it is what it is. He never plays. And when he does play, he does stuff like he did after Game 1. It's like everything is, they're trying to get him, and everything is his cheap shots, and everything is the refs don't call him. Like there's always some form of crying with Embiid with these things, and he's so damn good. If he would just stop the crying and just play, and he was such a huge part. He's the reason why they came back and beat the Celtics 3-1. Mm-hmm. He got healthy and he played to what he can do. 30 points, 12 boards every single night. dominant down low. Nobody can stop him. But Paulie, he just cries so much. It's so tough to take listening to the guy. It's so hard.
Well, I mean, can you understand maybe just a little bit of his side of it? Because, like I said, he doesn't have the support. I'm saying just putting them up, the Sixers up against the Knicks right now.
Right.
Brunson, Cat, Bridges, Hart. I mean, it's spread out.
OG. I mean, everybody's playing.
Everybody's contributing.
So
I mean, you can just it's being spread out. Where a guy like Embiid and the Sixers, they just don't have that.
Well, the problem is you had one game in that Celtic comeback where Paul George played great, but I don't think you can get that out of Paul George every single night.
You nailed it.
You had a game where VJ Edgecombe, who's an unbelievable rookie, and he's going to be great, but he's still a rookie, and it's his first time he's doing it. You're not going to get the consistency every night. Maxey is incredible also. So Maxey, I'm not worried about. Maxey's actually, Paulie, for me, the one you're getting full Maxey every single night. Like, he's the toughest guy to stop on the Sixers. And Embiid, the issue with him is he's always crying about something, or he's hurt, or he's limping around, or he says Maxey and Embiid is a tough one too.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have them at their full potential in a game like tonight, I'm going to give you tonight example. For your path to come through tonight and the Sixers to win this game at the Garden, you get full effort Maxey and Embiid. It's absolutely possible. Those two guys are outstanding. And here's the other thing. Does Embiid's crying lead to potentially more calls for him tonight? I mean, will he? And he gets he gets so many calls already. Will he get more calls tonight? On the road might be tough, but it could happen.
He might, because the Knicks might take those extra fouls tonight because it's a Dolan game. Why can't I? Why are you laughing at that? It's every game 2 in the series they lose.
He would, trust me. Okay. He would much rather have guaranteed 2 games in the Eastern Conference Finals than 1 Game 5 in this series.
What's the gate?
He's going to get 2 gates in the East Finals if they win this series.
Let's do it this way.
Maybe 3.
Let's do
maybe
it. Maybe
4.
Let's do it this way. On paper, Knicks should win the series in 4.
1,000%, but they won't.
All right. But tomorrow afternoon at noon East, if the Sixers win tonight, and it's by 8 to 10 points.
8 to 10 points?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Remember game 2, the Knicks gave up 14 points.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Just can we then my conspiracy thought here. Can we put a stamp on that tomorrow?
The tinfoil hat? We'll put the tinfoil hat on tomorrow.
If the Knicks game changes in the second half tomorrow night, where they kind of pull back a little bit.
You feel like tonight, if they throw the game, what you're saying, if they in the second half, it looks like they're throwing the game away. I guess
technically throw the game in terms of like not putting the nail in the coffin tonight.
Okay.
Can we at least continue that discussion tomorrow? But let's continue to talk that the Knicks are dominating this series. They should win it in 4. No hands
They should not win it. Win it in 4 is strong. That's disrespecting the Sixer team.
What's wrong with disrespecting Philadelphia?
Because I think they have guys. I don't think that the talent that they have is going to get swept in this series. I think it's going to actually be like the Hawks series. The Sixers are going to win some games in this series. As much as the Knicks are wrecking crew and everybody right now, they are not sweeping the Sixers. The Sixers have got Maxey and Embiid are going to win a game or 2 in this series. Maybe I think 2. I think they're going to win 2 games.
Almost 40 points.
They were dead from the game 7 on Saturday. They had nothing in the gas.
37 and the 100 points are spread out between the rest of the Knicks team. How are they going to compete with that?
You might get 35 from Maxey and 27 and 15 from Embiid tonight. All right.
Well, the only way they get that is in the 4th quarter when the Knicks pull back for Dolan. That's it. Other than that, if it's not a Dolan game tonight, the Knicks will smash job them again.
Knicks win the series, and I even think they win tonight. I think the Sixers will get back at home. I think the Sixers will win a game or 2 at home when they go back.
No, because they're going to be home games for the Knicks.
No, they're not. They're cutting them out.
No, they're getting through.
They're cutting people out. They're not going to let all these Knicks people get into
New Jersey Knicks fans
into the arena.
I'm telling you, it's going to be like a Knicks home game.
Got to get Embiid a map too. He called it Garden East. The Philly's West, technically, on the map from New York. So give him a break.
If Dolan gives him the green light tonight, they'll win it in 4.
Okay. I don't think so. I don't think they win it in 4. Sixers are, you saw at the end of that Boston series, this is still a rivalry.
They're not playing Boston anymore.
I understand
Boston gave up.
Boston was so gutless.
They
in
gave
that
up.
Series. My
The
God.
Knicks aren't giving up.
I cannot believe some of the stuff Boston
Knicks are
did
healthy.
in
Knicks
that
got a good.
series.
They're running a good game plan here. Brown's doing a decent job.
Listen,
Turn things around. They've got a little fire in their.
and I agree
Brunson's
on
not
all
even
those.
sweating at the end of the games.
I
anymore.
agree on all these points, and that's why it would be disgraceful if the Knicks don't make the NBA Finals.
They'll make the finals.
But they are
This is
also
it.
not going to roll the Sixers in 4 games here. I don't see that at
Okay.
all. Elsewhere, Cleveland and Detroit started last night. Detroit got game 1. Whatever. I'm so down on Detroit and I know they came back from down 3-1 against Orlando, but I don't see it. And I don't trust the Cavs. I mean, the Cavs, Harden is such a loser. Like I can't trust them either.
Boring teams.
I think it'll be a long series just because they're so even. It'll probably go back and forth.
I hope it does go
And
7.
Detroit will win in 7.
So the Knicks can get some rest.
Now, the one thing about if Detroit wins in 7 is then Detroit would have home court against the Knicks in the
Who cares?
East Finals. I agree. I don't think it would matter. I don't think it would matter in that spot. The Detroit took it to them in the regular season, but the playoffs is a whole nother animal, as we know. And I mentioned the Minnesota, San Antonio in the West. I think that Minnesota getting Ant back, and I didn't think Ant was great. I'm stunned he played the other night. That's going to be tricky for the Spurs because, as I was mentioning before, the Minnesota's got some dudes, man, that have played a lot of postseason games. You know, you look at Randall and Gobert and other guys. You could say what you want about these guys. They have tons of playoff experience, whereas the Spurs have basically none. And you saw that come out the other night. I think Minnesota is going to give them all they can handle in this series. But at the end of the day, Paulie, Wembanyama is just so damn good. And he had 12 blocks the other night. Like he's just a freak. And they didn't win that game despite him having that kind of night. He keep doing that, they're going to win the game. They're going to win more games than not. And I think the Spurs will find a way in a long series. And the Thunder are going to clean the Lakers out.
Yeah.
Clean the Lakers out. They got no
quick
shot.
question. Remember when the Spurs won championships back in the 90s, right?
They had a long string where they won a bunch of titles. So they won first
It was
in 99.
Robinson and
The first Spurs title was Robinson and Duncan. When
that's
Duncan
the
was
guy.
early.
Yeah.
And then Robinson retired. And then you had Duncan with Ginobili and with Tony Parker. And that whole crew won. And then they got Kawhi Leonard. And they wanted Kawhi Leonard and Duncan. And the Spurs and Pop had, I think was it 4 or 5 over a 15 to 20 year span, somewhere around there. And, and they lost a couple finals too, as well.
From phenomenal franchise.
I mean, you got to get lucky some years. They happen to get lucky and get the top pick the year that Wembanyama was available. Sometimes you get, it's just sometimes the way that those ping pong balls, as we'll talk about later in the NHL, sometimes the way those balls come out of that machine or whatever the envelope comes in, whether you think it's fraudulent or not, Wembanyama going to the Spurs after having Robinson and then Duncan and then getting Wembanyama, it is pretty weird.
That's good stuff.
How it all happens.
Why is the NHL going to San Antonio?
Man, I'm still surprised they haven't gone to Houston. I thought Houston was going to be the place that they would go.
Do the Arrows even exist anymore in the AHL?
Don't think so. I don't think so.
Going back to Atlanta, right?
Well, they're going back to Atlanta, and we got to make sure Arizona gets a team, and we got to make sure all that before you bring anyone else in.
Meanwhile, up in Quebec with the brand new building they built like 10 years ago.
I know. We want the NHL back. No. Bring them back to the mall in Hartford. I want to go back there. Bring them back to the mall.
You can't get into a Canadians game for the next 15 years. You're going to tell me you can't work back up in Quebec City? Give me a break.
Carver and Cuthbert, Go Sports Radio here at Borrelli's Taproom in Long Beach on the island. We're going to talk about the baseball next, but Paulie first is going to let everybody know all the great things that are happening at Borrelli's, including tonight, Knicks Game 2 watch party. Let's go.
All right, once again, Wednesdays and Thursdays broadcasting live right here from Borrelli's Taproom on 912 West Beach Street here in the great city of Long Beach on Long Island. So, the Cinco de Mayo party here was last night, and there's
how was that?
There's stacks of empty 1800 tequila bottles in the back. Tommy said it was insane. Tommy made his rent for the next 4 months last night. It's pretty good. But we move on here. It is Wednesday, so Knicks watch party tonight. Obviously, come on down. 2-for-1 pizzas, dollar wings, and all the bucket specials that you could ask for. Whatever you like to drink, they got it on special here down at the Taproom. So come on down. Game on all the TVs for the Dolan game tonight. And sound on. So great night here tonight on tap here at Borrelli's. Okay, so tomorrow is Thursday. It's carnivore night. And that means for $42.99, you can come down here for steak, veal, or pork. And you get a choice of super salad. It also comes with a dessert. And you get bottomless beers and endless wines. So come on down for carnivore night every Thursday night down here at Borrelli's Taproom. Friday night, the live music kicks back in with Lauren Craig and DJ Frankie Sims, and this will all be rocking and rolling in and around the Knicks game, okay? So, they'll be playing like in between the quarters and the halves and all that other stuff, and then the post-game Friday night dance party after the Knicks are finished here on Friday night. On Saturday, Sophia Luciano comes back here to Borrelli. She's fantastic. DJ Tim Select will have the Saturday night dance party after Sophia is done, wrapped up in her sets. And then on Sunday, man, it's just a full day here because it's Mother's Day. Okay, we got the Mother's Day brunch going on, endless mimosas and wines. And then you got the Knicks on. And then in and around that, you got Tim Quinn's going to be doing live music here. And then DJ Tim Select to wrap out the Sunday fun day. So Mother's Day, Knicks, live music, dance party, Sunday fun day like you've never seen before right down here at Borrelli's, all wrapped around Mother's Day. So come on down for that. And then we move on to the music theme nights coming back this Wednesday nights. And a couple Thursdays here in May. The Billy Joel night that was scheduled for this evening because of the Knicks has been moved to the 14th. Okay. And,
Next Wednesday.
Yeah. No, that's going to be a Thursday now.
Oh, I apologize. I don't have the days.
And then if the Knicks, they should wrap this up in 5. Because Game 6 would be on the 14th, and maybe Billy Joel will get moved again. But we'll see what happens. And then on May 20th, the debut of the U2 music theme night with the band New Year's Days U2 tribute, and a second U2 tribute night has been added for July 22nd. So come on down. There's a good buzz going on for these shows for the U2 tribute nights here at Borrelli's Taproom. May 27th, Bruce Springsteen night returns here at the end of the month. And in June, July, and August, there's going to be a mix of great theme nights down here on Wednesdays, including 80s night, Yacht Rock night, Oasis night.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be announcing all that stuff coming up real soon. On May 13th is the ravioli night here on May 13th. I just said that. It's usually always sells out. Go to Borrelli'sTaproom.com to find out more information on ravioli night. And then the comedy series returns May 18th. Anthony Rodia is going to be in here. James on May 18th. I just said that. James Fried will be here on June 29th. Joe List will be here on August 14th. And Chris DiStefano will be here on Wednesday, August 5th, where I believe I'll be coming down with the missus. She's a huge fan of Chris, so that'll be a great night down here. And don't forget, coming up in another week or so, the 15th through the 17th is Country Fest. All right, so Anthony Gal's going to host that here. A bunch of musicians from Nashville will be coming up north from the south to rock and roll with some great country music all weekend long on the 15th through the 17th. And then don't forget the June 22nd golf outing, Borrelli's Taproom, right here. Register at Borrelli'sTaproom.com. Going to be a great, beautiful day. I promise you, Mike, it'll be beautiful on Monday, June 22nd.
I hope so.
As we go tear up the golf course.
Let's go.
In Oceanside.
Let's go.
And
we need to finalize the foursomes there.
Foursomes? I might not be much room left. We better hustle up like tomorrow and get this crew together.
I've been getting some inquiries about that.
Well, let's go. We need signups. We need registrations.
We need to get
open to everybody. And if you can't make the golf, I think it's a little over 200 for the round of golf of the day, and you get everything in the package
and the dinner
all kind of stuff. But if you want to just come back to Borrelli's afterwards and hang out, $75. It's open bar, dinner, everything. It's going to be a phenomenal night. So can't wait.
That is I'll be Ubering home from Borrelli's that night. After all day on the golf course, into here, into dinner, and then an Uber up the Meadowbrook.
See, if only Tiger Woods would take advantage of Uber.
Very true.
You know,
very
you
true.
Are smarter than the average Tiger.
I try to be sometimes.
Anyway,
that's for sure.
Always great stuff going on here, Borrelli's.
Outstanding job, Paulie. There, Carver and Cuthbert, Go Sports Radio here on a Wednesday. Let's talk a little bit about the 25-11 First place, New York Yankees, who don't lose.
Ever since I said it was finally time to fire Boone and get rid of Jazz
You
Chisholm,
turned it around. You're the one who did it. Now, that was during that stretch where they played the Angels. Remember that week where they
Lost
split
5
the
in a row.
Angels? They had lost 5 in a row. Now they got swept by the Rays in Tampa. This was back on April 10th, 11th, and 12th.
horror show.
Since then, they are 3-0, 6-0, 8-1, 9, 10, 10-2, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-2 since then.
Just playing. You know what? They're not playing perfect baseball, but they're playing good baseball, and they're just winning games that they usually lose. Their pitching has been excellent, and the hitting has been spread around. And even through the injuries here, you guys coming in. You know, the Martians coming in, done a really good job. They're shifting around. Booney's managing third base pretty well too. And, you know, now the whole Volpe thing is kind of set to the side now.
Got a McMahon homer last night off the Grom. I mean,
all good stuff, man. So, but I think that's like, you know, that you know, the what do you call it? Like pool, 2 guys rotate. What do they call that?
rotation.
Yeah,
Platoon.
Platoon. There you go. Thank you, Michael.
You like the platoon?
I like the
they're
platoon
doing?
that they're doing at third base. I think it's been taking some of the pressure off McCann. And Rosario is a great guy on the team as far as spirit and energy and stuff.
Sure.
He's a great player. He's a good bat too.
Well,
so that's a nice little thing going on at third base. That's allowed everything else to kind of even out a little bit.
Here's a few things just from the past couple days since we were last together. Number one, always good when you have a division rival in your building over the weekend, like they did with Baltimore. It is always good to take care of business the way that they did. And I think the important thing that they're doing right now is, you know, you look at these, if you don't watch the games, you're going to look at these scores and you'll be like, man, 12-1, 11-3, 9-4. You know, it looks like they're just beating them around. What's actually happening in these games is, and it's a good thing for the Yankees. These games are relatively close into the later innings, and the Yankees are finding ways in the 6th, 7th, 8th to add on add on, and they're making these games get out of sight to where they're not sweating in the 9th, like, because they are just, like I said, they're tight, and then they're just beating teams down late in the games. And part of that, maybe you want to say, I mean, they did it again last night. Now, this game with the Rangers last night was close. They got, 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. And that was their way. Goldie comes in. Goldie gets a homer last night. As Rice has been out, obviously, the last couple of days. We'll see if they get Rice back in there maybe tonight. But they're kind of getting contributions from everywhere. Schlittler is the favorite to win the Cy Young right now on the betting board. He has been that good for the Yankees. Warren's going tonight against the Rangers, and he's been excellent. And they now have Cole and Rodon both making rehab starts down in the minors and building them back up to where they could be back.
Holding steady.
It is. And look, I still think that could be a problem for them when they play serious games later in the year. These are,
they've been able to come in with not a lot of pressure on them.
Correct, because they're doing like I said, it's important, and it takes nothing away from the bullpen. Their offense is putting these games out of sight in the later innings and not allowing there to be pressure on the bullpen. And so eventually they're going to have to get big outs. This isn't going to be all year this goes on.
Not at all.
But as we have learned in years past, it seems like the Yankees, especially the last 3 or 4 years, always have that lull in June and July. So I'm perfectly fine with stacking as many wins as you possibly can right now. And the crazy part is
you look at the division right now, outside of Tampa
Tampa
Bay,
don't lose either.
I know.
Which is pretty crazy.
Look, it's good to have somebody on your tail a little bit. That's okay. But look at the rest of the division.
You're burying Toronto and Boston, which is what matters.
9, and 10.
Burying those teams back, which is important. But Tampa is so, they are such a pain in the, they're like a little gnat. They just fly around, and it's like nobody thinks about them because they don't have the.
They will teeter out.
Okay, you could say that. That's fine, but I don't believe that. When the Rays play like this, they play like this all year. And they are a complete pain in the ass, and they're going to be a team that they've already 3-0 against the Yankees this year down at the Trop. They swept them that one weekend. When do
we
they
see him
play?
again?
I was just going to say that to you. When is the next Yankee Tampa series? Because they haven't been to the Bronx yet. And here we go. May 22nd through the 24th, weekend series in the Bronx. So 2 weeks away, just about 2 weeks from this weekend. They'll be there.
That's wow, that's a great week. Look at that stretch. The Subway Series.
Yeah, then Blue
Toronto.
Jays, then Rays.
And then, yeah.
Blue Jays, Rays, then after that. So good stretch coming up here for the Yankees later on. I'm actually, at some point I want to talk to you about next week. There's a lot going on, man. Next weekend. Yankees, Mets that weekend. PGA Championship with the golf. Next weekend, there was something else. Obviously, you're going to have NBA and NA and Stanley Cup playoffs going on. Just a super busy
Is it too much
time? It's not too much. It's great. It's great to see that there's
sports guys like
there's so much going on.
Much?
It's outstanding for everybody. So two other things on the Yankees, and then I'll move on to the Mets. One, they had to make the Volpe decision on Sunday night also.
Well, let me get your take on this, observing the buzz around the Yankees stuff. I see a lot of top guys cover the Yankees, and then if you're a Yankee fan, you're on Twitter and stuff like that. The commentary is that the Yanks are making moves and decisions that in the past they not necessarily would. They seem to be more forceful in their decision making as far as the lineup, as far as guys going up, going down, DFAs, everything else, tightening things up a lot quicker here early in the season than supposedly they wouldn't have in the past. And obviously, this big Volpe thing that you just brought up, I think on everybody's thoughts and their minds, seeing the way Cabby's been playing, and then going, are they going to do this? Are we going to have to? We're going to have to live through this of Volpe being on the bench and then watching what's going to happen with him. And now that whole issue is just taken off the table.
Yeah. Yeah. I was very surprised that they did this. This is not something that they would have done the past couple of years. And maybe.
But did Volpe obviously not help his situation?
Well, I think it was a combination of two things. Obviously he probably could have played a little better in the rehab, and they might feel he needs more work to get sharp. And I think it also helps that during this, what did I say, was 15-2 run over the last 17 games. Caballero's he's played well. And when you're going really good like this, I don't see the need to change up something that could disrupt the little mojo that you got going. Now, if they were 2-15 in their last 17 games, they'd probably make the switch and try to inject some life or try. But when you're 15-2 over the last 17 games, I don't really need to mess with anything. And they have this thing now with Caballero, and you mentioned the platoon with McMahon and Rosario, and you've got Dominguez coming in and filling a role while Stanton got put on the IL.
Jazz has seemed to straighten.
Jazz is, Belly's been hitting the ball. There's
and how smart
wedging in a guy who over the last year and a half has become a real lightning rod with the fans in terms of hate and love with Volpe, in terms of nobody he stinks, he shouldn't be playing. To kind of bring him back into when things are going so good right now isn't the best thing. And I do got to give them some credit for noticing that and not doing it and not putting it.
Here's another question. Do you think maybe a big part of this Volpe decision might actually be coming from the clubhouse, from inside the locker room?
I don't think
no, and I see it in the sense that the Cabby is not even playing so well, but he's just been a great addition to the lineup. Now, obviously, he's kind of changed his ways a little bit too from last year in terms of his anger issues and being aggressive at points and stuff.
Well,
but I'm saying, there's team chemistry is incredibly important on a team.
Yes.
So if you play the last couple of years with a guy like Volpe, and then he goes through struggles and stuff, and then Caballero comes in here last year, finishes pretty strong with the end of the season. Obviously, you get knocked out of the playoffs, whatever. But starting so well this year, getting the opportunity to take this. But do you? I'm asking you, and maybe Yankee fans too. Do you think this is also maybe a team decision that
he's a different type of player? And I always like when the Yankees have some more fiery guys in the clubhouse, because I think the Yankees give off the impression of buttoned up. They're the Yankees. We don't do stuff here, and we don't do like even Judge. Love Judge all you want. He's got a lot of Jeter in him, and he doesn't give you much. You're not gonna get much out of Judge.
Stanton,
Stanton the same.
Stanton, Judge, Belly.
Well,
And even you can go to the pitching staff too. Fried,
and
Schlittler, Garrett. They're all kind of
right. They're not
even keel.
Right now, Judge has surprisingly overlapped. He has when he's needed to. Maybe this is just part of him developing and being the captain now. When he's needed to say something, he has, kind of like in the offseason. But I remember when he came the first press conference of spring training off of that offseason. He was like, I thought we were going to do,
wish we could have got
got a couple of guys. So I do like the Judge has done that. But 80% and 95% of the time, you're not getting much out of him. Caballero is a little bit of a different cat. And I like, it's not the same. He's not on this level, but remember when the last time the Yankees won was 2009, and they infused like a guy like Nick Swisher, who's just such a big personality and a different type of guy. And he kind of went into a room that was very buttoned up and tight because you still had the Jeters and the Posadas, and then you had these new guys with CC and Tex. And Swisher's just such a huge personality that I sometimes think the Yankees operate better when they have guys like that on the team. Now, Caballero is not Nick Swisher, but he's wired a little differently. He pisses the other team off with the stuff he does with the stepping in and out with the pitch clock. We've seen a few teams get mad at him with that.
Paint,
He's very demonstrative with some of his slides into the play, and he's very I like when the Yankees have personalities like that because they don't need a full team of them, but they need a couple of them to balance out all the stuffy business-like stuff.
And if mentally you can get a team to be focusing on what the shit that Cabby's stirring up, you know what I'm saying? And then the rest of the team can kind of sit back, and that's what they've been doing, is just doing their job, especially the big guys, Belly and Judge, and obviously Stanton when he was in the line, but everything else. So, I mean, just having the Volpe thing kind of pushed to the side, I think it's just it's an exhale. I think not only for the team and not only for the fan base, and obviously I would say for Cashman and Hal and all that other stuff, that it's just not something that you're going to hear in the press every day. And you know what? He's going down in the minors now, and he's got to work himself back. And Volpe's still young enough; he can still have a career in MLB, whether it's going to be with the Yankees down the road or not. And let's say worst scenario happens, a guy like Cabby goes down to something else. Then you bring him up. But for the now, this is a good thing. And if it ain't broke, you don't need to fix it. And Cabby's doing a great job.
Let's remember something else too. Like, it's not like he's not going to be on the team all year. Like, he's eventually going to be here because there's always an injury. There's always other things that happen. He's going to get hot down there. And so, it's not like he's going to be in Scranton for the rest of the season. He's going to need to eventually come back and be part of this team. I just think it was good that they realized that right now is not that time to do it. And nice job by them to make a very tough decision for a guy who's been part of their major league roster for the last couple of years. And maybe that fires him a little bit, saying like, I got to spend even, more time down here than I thought I was going to, and to get things going. Last thing with the Yankees, of course, Paulie, is the unfortunate passing of John Sterling a couple of days ago. I think Monday morning, right, when we got the news about John. And, John was I've seen a lot of people say this the last few days, whether it was Michael Kay or Susan Waldman or any. John was one of one. Like, there was nobody like John Sterling. And whether you liked or didn't like, or it wasn't your cup of tea, or it was his style of broadcasting Yankee games, you cannot say that anybody else ever sounded or did it like John. And John was the Yankee play-by-play voice for decades. So many incredible moments he was the voice of for the Yankees. Everyone, working at the Fan for about 10 years, Paulie, I never got to, because there were times where John would come in and do some things in the studio, but usually they were during the day, and I was a night guy, so I never got to really have any personal interaction with John, except maybe once or twice on the phone, something like that. But everything everyone tells me is so true. He's the absolute nicest guy you would ever meet. Like he's just like he is on the air. He was a little bit out there, but he was just the best. Anyone who ever covered the team, worked with the team, anything, John was excellent to them. I found myself the other day, Paulie, as you know, everybody starts putting the clips up and everybody starts looking back on all the moments that he called. And it just brought me back to like so much. And I retweeted a couple of them and I put a few of them up, and you know, his call of, which does everyone for the home runs, like the A-bomb from A-Rod and the Thriller from Godzilla and all, you know, the Giambino and Here Comes the Judge, like so many memorable and outstanding home run calls. But go back and listen to like his call of the final out of the 96 World Series when they beat the Braves and the Charlie Hayes pop up over on the third base side. It's like, it is such an incredible call that he had on it. His calls of the homers against the Diamondbacks in 2001, the Tino and the Brocious in games 4 and 5. Like, so many incredible moments. And yes, were there times where we got to have some fun with him where he'd call a fly ball a homer or he'd call a homer and hit off the... Yeah, and that was John. You had to kind of deal with it. But so many incredible moments and sayings and everything else. Just a brutal loss. And I know John was sick for a long time and everybody kind of thought it was kind of going in that direction, but tough loss for the Yankee family, Paulie. It really was.
Hey, as fans, we're just we're lucky to have had him. You know,
Yes.
I sit back and you know, obviously the last couple of days and all the highlights and you know, all the platforms that put up for him and the Yankees and everything else. And I'm sitting there when you think about what a gig that was.
Yeah.
You know, and I know he talked about it at the end there when he did end up stepping away, about the hours and the time and that you have to put into it. All the obviously all the broadcasters
Right.
have to put the time into it. But when you look back at all those, especially all the winning, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, the Yankees were really tough to watch in the 80s, obviously. And then you get to the mid 90s. And basically since then, it's just been on another level. And he was a part of that. And to witness all those great moments, all those great World Series wins, and all the amazing players that have come in and out of here throughout the last couple of decades, it's just unbelievable. But I think all Yankee fans, you know, I just know from me and my buddies, you know, when we watch them, you know, on the road or listen to games on the radio, and you know, or if you were watching a game and you're out somewhere and stuff, and somebody would text you if the Yankees did something, it was usually a Sterling, you know, something he would say,
Right.
you know, in the text. You know, if Judge hit it or anybody else.
Well, and it became like a thing, especially
it's like a language amongst Yankee fans.
I would say, especially among his last, like, you know, he stopped 2 years ago, 24. You know, that Yankee Dodger World Series was the last one that John did. You know, I would say for like 15 years before that, the biggest thing would be when the Yankees would get a new player. What was the home run call going to be? What was John going to use? What was it going to be? What was the home run going to go?
You know, when bring up Soto. Because that was great.
Soto, yeah.
He's wonderful.
He's wonderful. And John had a flair. He loved Broadway, and he would mix so many things from Broadway into
well, in that season when Soto played with us, and I'll just talk, you guys know, I'm a tour musician, and we were out there, and if Soto would hit a home run or something, we'd all be sitting around going, he's wonderful.
He's wonderful, stupendous. It's just, and hearing back some of them, there's just so many. It's funny. I Swisher was on my mind. He's Swishalicious. And he'd come in with, just so many. You're on the mark, Teixeira.
Didi Glorious is glorious.
Yes.
Something like that.
That's
so many. Goes on and on.
It goes, it really does go on and on and on. But it all started with one. Burn, baby, burn. That was the first one. They ever started adding like the little tag onto the homer. And that was during like that 96 playoff run where they beat the Orioles in the CS, and Bernie had that incredible burn, baby, burn. And then it just kind of rolled from there. We can't. El Capitan.
You know, and he's just part of the Yankee glory and history, and you know, it just goes on and on. And again, we're so lucky as fans to have not only, you know, and we can talk because, like I said, us being, you know, being around for the Yankees, you know, me going back old enough when the Yankees won in the 70s, and then, you know, and then the 90s here,
well,
you know, and
that's
to enjoy all that. And then again, we can all sit back as anything, and you go back to the lore. You know, my son's like, he's like, I just got number 9 for you know, Little League, middle school. He's like, Dad, who are famous Yankees who won 9? That's the first thing he says, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Maris and Nettles and stuff. It's like, it's all part of it. And Johnny's part of all that is what I'm
going
saying.
through also. And somebody put it out, and this one I didn't retweet and I should have. Someone had like a 22-minute video that they cut together of like all of his good ones, like all of his calls, like had the 95 Ruben Sierra and Mattingly homers in it against the Mariners. And like it had everything for like his entire Yankee career in terms of great calls. And it made me like kind of also think about this. Like I'm, you know, I'll be 46 this year. So when I was 16 through 21, all the Yankees did was win. Yeah. Like that was it. 96, 98, 99, 2000. 2001 was
when they didn't win, they were in the World Series.
2001, they lost the World Series, but it's such an unforgettable series because of what was happening in our lives and what was happening in that series, that despite losing it, I'll never forget that really the 2001 World Series, between what they did. We know obviously what happened 2 months before, and then not off the shadow of 9/11.
Yep.
You know, there's so many things that Bush throwing the strike in Game 3 outside, you know, the homers in 4 and 5 with team, and Soriano's homer in Game 7, which gets so lost because they ended up losing the game for a rookie to hit a go-ahead homer in the 7th, 8th inning of Game 7 of the World Series, and to see something you had never seen or you hardly ever saw, which was Rivera give up sawed-off blooper after sawed-off blooper in the 9th inning to lose it. It was an incredible series, even though they lost it. There were so many unforgettable moments. But getting back to listening to all the calls, they won so much when I was in that 16 to 21, 22, and then 23. I was 23 when they lost to the Marlins, which is, as you know, like the Borrelli, but the last night of the Yankee dynasty, when they lost that night, things kind of changed when they lost that. And then they win again in 09, and they played all the calls from 09, and A-Rod had an incredible 09. Yep. Going through all that, it made me realize they haven't won in a long time for the Yankees. Like they haven't, Paulie, when you think about it. Like in my life, they won when I was 16, and then they won so much. Then you had a little bit of a gap. They won again in 09. Now it's been 16, 17 years since they've won. And it doesn't seem like, but because we've seen so much winning in our lives, we've seen them win so much that I'm like, yeah, you know, I've seen them win so much. But now I'm like, after listening through all the old, reminiscing a lot, I'm like, no, God, you know, they haven't won in a while for the Yankees, for being the New York Yankees, who the standard is winning the World Series, and they've done all, you know, and they've only been in one since winning in 09, which was the Dodger one 2 years ago that they lost, obviously, in 5 games. Like, man, like, when are they going to win again, Paul? Is this
well, I mean, all right, push the championship aside, but we have had a lot of 90-win seasons. We've had a lot of playoff appearances. Right. You know, the Yankees still have won a lot compared to, you know, sometimes you have to compare it to the suffering of other franchises and stuff. And I think you're right. You know, you bring up the fact that just the history of the Yankees, because we've won so much and because it's set at a high standard. Yes, it makes the losing a little bit better. And I think it's coming back again real soon here in the next couple of years. I really do believe it. And, but I guess it's also a credit to the fact that how I would say it's a lot tougher to win in MLB over the last 10, 15 years too. I mean, because there really hasn't been, you know, San Francisco won a couple.
The game's changed.
Boston's won a couple.
The game's changed.
You know, but it hasn't been like, you know, the Dodgers are obviously in the midst of this, but it's been a long time, you know, for a team to win back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken.
Well,
here
yeah.
in
Well,
a
the
while.
Yankees, winning 3 in a row. They were the last one to do that in baseball.
Yeah,
So
so
the Dodgers are going for that this year, of course.
So as far as
Going for 3 in a row.
that span of 17 years here,
Yeah.
the game has changed.
Right.
It's not like the Yankees have been dropped down to like the laughing stock of
No,
like say Pittsburgh or
right, but
Kansas City.
it's
like,
still like it made me kind of like think like, holy, like they haven't won in a long time. Like we haven't had, and you know what they might get this year because they used to, during those runs of '96 through 2001, and there was always like something too, like like an old time Yankee unfortunately would pass away. There'd be the ghosts of the stadium and all that stuff. Maybe they get a little Ghosts of John this summer too, and they're going to put the patch on the uniform, and it looks really nice that they're doing. And maybe I know he was an announcer, he wasn't a player and all that, but
I hope they let the fans buy that because I'd love to have that.
Oh, Paulie, think about what you just said. Think about what you just said.
Some things you can't get.
You think just because it's from a patch for a guy that the Yankees won't find a way to sell those? Oh, they'll find a way.
Yeah.
They'll be able to let you buy the patch and put them on your jerseys you already have, and they'll stitch them on for you.
All right,
they'll go and do all that for you. Believe me, they will never turn down a buck.
No, but we've been lucky as fans to have him. Even just being like the Mets, and I know we're going to switch over there in a second.
Yeah.
Bob Murphy was amazing. Amazing radio voice of the Mets years ago. And his kids growing up, like I said, when you didn't have 60 million platforms,
right.
60 million, it really toned down. I know I was a baseball fan as a kid, especially back in the 70s and the 80s. It was radio, and obviously we had Phil Rizzuto on TV, and then you have Kinder's Corner of the Mets. You were watching
Rizzuto and Bill White.
And then Sunday. What was this Sunday night? This Week in Baseball.
Yeah, Mel Allen.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I have vivid memories because it was a smaller world.
That Saturday morning, This Week in Baseball with Mel Allen.
I get it. And then the Great Sports Machine with what's his face?
George Michael.
George Michael is great. That was a little later on, I think, late 80s, early 90s. But I'm just going to say this real quick. Vivid memories as a young kid. And like I said, you're 40, you're going to be 46. I'm going to be 57. So,
right.
Baseball cards.
Yeah.
Shucking up against the curb.
Yeah.
With your buds.
Can't do that now. You better put them in those cases that they buy.
Yeah. And, you can't mess up the cards.
Can't mess up the cards.
Flip them up against the curb, right? Trade them and all that stuff. And then, but you would look forward to Saturday and then the Sunday night.
Right.
And because there was limited access to see the highlights of the other teams and stuff like that. And then, like I said, the great Dodgers in the 80s and all that stuff. And just vivid memories. But like I said, radio, we're again just going to say New York, we can say it ourselves. We've had, and it goes across all sports here in New York. We've had some great commentators to follow. And I also want to tip my cap to Dave Sims, who's been doing a great job.
Yes.
And obviously Susan Waldman too. Been with them for so long. But hey, best to John's family, and thanks to John for all the great memories and all the great calls. It was it's a shame it's happened so fast, because obviously, retiring and then taking it easy, coming and filling. I didn't know that he was that kind of sick.
Yeah,
so a little shocked.
Look,
thought we had more time.
Yeah, and it was tough for him those last couple years, even doing the game. I mean, God, Paulie, he did the games to his mid-80s. I mean, he's just, he was incredible. He really was. And rest in peace, John. Just a legendary voice. The voice of my childhood of Yankee baseball. Yep. And let's not also forget, did the Islanders in the late 70s.
I haven't heard any of those calls. I gotta find them.
It's just there was a couple I saw. Someone put one Islander one up from the late 70s, and of course did the Braves in the 80s. And the one Brave one that always gets circulated is I think it was like the 20-inning game with the Mets with Rick Camp. So he was on that call. So there's a couple of, John did a lot of stuff before the Yankees. He's obviously he was the gold standard of the Yankees for decades, but did the Nets, did the Islanders here, did the Braves in Atlanta. Like he's just an incredible career for John Sterling. It really was. Carver and Cuthbert, Go Sports Radio here on a Wednesday from Borrelli's Taproom in Long Beach on the island. Before I continue on, we have breaking news.
Get out.
Breaking news involving the Knicks game tonight.
Really?
Yes. Breaking news involving the Knicks game this evening. Philadelphia 76ers Joel Embiid has been ruled out for Game 2 tonight against the New York Knicks due to ankle and hip injuries. Sham Charania of ESPN says he was unable to participate in the team shoot-around this morning, increased soreness in both his ankle and his hip. He has been receiving around-the-clock treatment in efforts to play. So no Embiid for the Sixers tonight.
Well, maybe there goes the Dolan game.
Well, look, I'm sure this changed the number.
They lose tonight with him out of the lineup.
That's what I care
Then
about.
it's definitely a Dolan game.
Now, remember something here. Now, this line went to 10.5 now, so it's 7.5. It goes to 10.5. Remember something here. The Sixers played pretty much the majority of this season without Embiid. And they play a different style when Embiid is not out there. It is a heavy, obviously, Maxey, and you will see, obviously, more shots for Paul George and for VJ Edgecombe. And, I would be careful here. In fact, I'll tell you right now, from the betting perspective, I'm taking the 10.5 with the Sixers tonight now. Wow. I am going to take it. I think it changes what they do. Now, Embiid is so good against the Knicks that obviously hurts. But here's another thing I don't think is going to – the Knicks will win tonight, but it's going to be closer than 10.5. And the Knicks have been smashing everyone. They just put up on the screen in here like their last 4 games. They've won by 49 and 31 and all. I think tonight the Sixers push them a little. I'm taking the 10.5 with Philadelphia this evening with no Embiid, even without him. I'm going in.
Throwing the Dolan factor. Okay.
I know you want the Dolan. No Dolan.
It'll be interesting to when that last second ticks off tonight.
Right.
You score. One score is going to push my tinfoil conspiracy theory into the grave.
You shall see.
But if the Sixers do win this game, now without Embiid, and
it's a different game.
By 10 points or something, 10 points or whatever. We'll see.
We shall see. Before we get to the hockey, Mets are in Colorado tonight. Give them some credit. They won a series this weekend in Anaheim. They won 2 out of 3. And then they won Monday night in Colorado. They got snowed out last night. They'll play tonight.
Don't be making fun of my former state.
I love it. And I saw the snow falling. The snow was falling last night, and they'll be okay tonight. And then they'll play tomorrow afternoon. They'll make it up before heading to Arizona this weekend.
Colorado strategically has snow games in the spring and stuff like that to keep people out of the state. We want people to think that it's an Arctic.
But it's a beautiful place to live.
It gets more sunshine than Hawaii every year, and its average temperature is 64 degrees.
I've heard, and you know better than most. You've lived it. It's a beautiful place to live.
Unbelievable.
It's a beautiful place to live. So maybe we'll have more to get to the Mets tomorrow after they play Colorado this evening.
And Mendoza still managed them?
Mendoza's
still there, huh?
He's still the manager. Yes, he's still the manager. I want to get to the hockey because I'm running out of time, and I have to get this hockey in. Let's say I'll do the Sabres last because they're the only series that hasn't started yet.
Why don't I tell everybody what's going on?
Fine. Why don't you do one more?
You want to get yourself a beverage or something, and then we'll come back and we'll do hockey.
All right, fine. Carver and Cuthbert, Go Sports Radio from Borrelli's Taproom in Long Beach on the island. Let everybody know what's happening here.
All right, once again, broadcasting live from Borrelli's Taproom, 912 West Beach Street in Long Beach on the island in the great state of New York. It's Wednesday. That means it's Knicks watch party tonight. Game 2, right here. Sound on, 2-for-1 pizzas, $1 wings, and tons of bucket specials. So come on out and watch the Knicks game if you're down here in the South Shore area of Long Island. Tomorrow is Thursday, which means it's carnivore night. And for $42.99, you come down here, you get a choice of veal, steak, or pork. Comes with a super salad, and then you get a dessert on top of that, and you get bottomless beers and endless wines. All for $42.99 right here every Thursday, carnivore night, down here at Borrelli's. Friday night kicks off the live music returning here at Borrelli's, and that starts with Lauren Craig here tomorrow night. She's going to be here around 7 o'clock, and then DJ Frankie Sims will also be here too. And this is going to be in and around also the Knicks games too. So they'll play in between the quarters and between the halves and stuff. So you have live music, Knicks watch party here, and again, 2-for-1 pizzas, $1 wings, tons of bucket specials here on Friday night. On Saturday, Sophia Luciano comes back here. She starts at 5 o'clock, I believe, 5 or 7 o'clock probably on Saturday, yes. And then DJ TM Select will be here for the Saturday night dance party. And then on Sunday, another Knicks game here, Knicks watch party, plus Mother's Day brunch. Come on down, bottomless wines and bottomless mimosas for the moms and a great brunch menu. Go to Borrelli'sTaproom.com for the full brunch menu for moms. And then we've got live music with Tim Quinn and DJ Tim Select. We'll round things out for the evening and the Sunday Fun and Dance Party here. That's Sunday. It's just going to be a ton of stuff going on here at Borrelli's. May 13th is ravioli night here. So if you, they usually always sell out. I'm not sure what the status is right now. Go to Borrelli'sTaproom.com. Come down here. Find out how to make raviolis, sauce, all that stuff. There's great wine specials. It's just an amazing night. Check that out. Borrelli'sTaproom.com for all that information. May 15th through the 17th is Country Fest here at Borrelli's, hosted by Anthony Gal. There'll be musicians here from Nashville coming up, and they will be here hanging out all weekend playing great sounds of country music. And then as far as the comedy lineup coming back here, we got Anthony Rodia is going to be here on May 18th. That's Monday, May 18th. James Freed will be here on June 29th. Joe List on July 14th. And just announced Chris DeStefano Wednesday, August 5th down here at Borrelli's. And don't forget, come on down for all the drink specials during the week. And anytime you come in to Borrelli's Taproom, mention the Carver and Cuthbert podcast, radio show, YouTube show, whatever you want to call it. And you get a free Miller Lite draft. Start your session off right down here. And then come down and hang out and have lunch with us. The doors and the windows are going to be open here once this summer eventually comes in here. And we got $12 soup and sandwich special. They got the best sandwiches in town. Me and Mike always, on our way out of here, always getting soup and salad on the way out the door here. So come on down. You get a free Miller Lite draft to start, and you get a $12 soup and salad special here. Come down and hang out. Sports lunch here, not only Wednesdays and Thursdays with us, but all week long down at Borrelli's. And again, just a reminder, and we're going to have more information on this as we get a little closer, and that's the golf outing on Monday, June 22nd. And that's what's happening here at Borrelli's. Follow Borrelli's everywhere, on Instagram, on the TikTok, on Facebook. Borrelli's Taproom, Borrelli's Long Beach. And that's it, pal.
There you go. Let's roll here. Carver and Cuthbert. Eddie in Columbus, better late than never. Good to have you with us, Eddie. It's about time. You got here. Only a couple minutes left. You can always go back and watch on YouTube, though, which is the best part about all of it. All right, I got to get to the hockey now. Let me start, and I'll finish with the Sabres because they're playing their first game tonight. So I'll circle back to them. First of all, Colorado and Minnesota. They've already played 2 games. I couldn't believe the first game, not 15 goals, 9-6, just wild. Speaking of wild, I thought the Wild would fight back last night in Denver and get it even. They switched to Gustafsson. They just, man, I don't know, Paulie. I thought Minnesota would be in the series. And look, they haven't played a home game yet. They could easily turn around and win both games in Minnesota and make this a series. But I'm very nervous for all my Minnesota Wild bets that I have for them to win the West and win the Cup, because I'm trying to go after Colorado and Wedgwood here.
When did you make those bets?
Recently. I thought Minnesota played.
What is wrong with you?
I think that they're a very good team. I think Quinn Hughes changed them. They're
better than the Avalanche.
Look, part of what I try to do with this stuff is I'm looking at value. I thought the number that I got Minnesota, which was 20-1, and you compare that with who they're playing. Yes, they're playing the Avalanche, who are the favorites, but do I think that Minnesota can beat Colorado in a 7-game series? I thought they were good enough to do that. They played them tough all 4 games in the regular season. Quinn Hughes has changed them to a much better team. Their goaltending up until game 1 was there with Wallstedt and with Gustafsson. Now, obviously, opinions change after 2 games. Colorado's come in and really taken it to them. And I've got really one last stand here in game 3 to make me think that Minnesota can get back into it now. And they've got 3 days off to think about it. They're not playing it until Saturday. But you think that this is just a done deal? Colorado's invincible and they're going to win the Cup? I don't think that. You think that any team with Wedgwood as a goalie is just invincible and they're going to win? I don't.
The big red flag right now is, speaking of Quinn's and the Minnesota defense, is their defensive play right now. I think that
it was ugly Sunday night. It was better last night, but it was very ugly.
Yeah, but even on the goals that Colorado are getting here, they're looking really, really bad. I think that's big. I don't think it doesn't matter who you put in net right now. If they don't straighten out their play in their own end, they're in trouble.
Look,
and I think even after the 9-6 win, I thought Colorado looked even better in game 2. I think this series is over.
I hope not. I hope that Minnesota is able to climb back into it, because
if you don't see
Look, they are very, very good.
McKinnon, Carr, they're on
good.
a mission.
I just don't think that they're this. Like, I don't look at them the way we look at Oklahoma City in the NBA.
I'm starting to.
Okay, well, I'm not there yet. And I think that there's a way to beat them. I think it can be done. And there are teams left that can do it. I thought Minnesota was one of them. I don't know if Vegas is. I don't know if Carolina is. I think that those are really the three teams. As much as we love Buffalo and Montreal, and I don't, if they played Colorado in the Stanley Cup final, I think they'd get squashed. But I felt like Minnesota, Vegas, and Carolina were the three teams that could beat Colorado in a 7-game series. I don't think they're unbeatable by any stretch.
So my feelings and opinions have changed a little bit here, obviously, in the last week with the way series have ended, series have started here.
You feel better about Vegas now?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I think Vegas has gotten lucky. I think Vegas has waited to the last minute here in a couple of these games. Obviously, if Marner can keep punching higher and stuff like that, we'll see it. But Anaheim is definitely not going to beat Colorado, and I think Colorado, if they are healthy by the time they get out of this series in Minnesota, I think they will. I think Carter. He's been also bailing out the Knights. Let's be honest.
He's been good.
He's had to be more than good. Okay, I just think in a 7-game series, and if Colorado has all their weapons, I think they take care of both. I think they can take care of Minnesota here. I think they'll take care of Vegas or Anaheim.
Okay, so it's over. We don't need to. We don't need to watch.
Now I said I have my opinions changing here. The team that I'm actually starting to think, going, hey, maybe we should take them a little more seriously, is the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, and I don't want to because I don't want to get away from. I don't get away from the narrative that they never win in the playoffs, but they have. And listen, you need this sometimes. I never hold it against teams. No one 10 years from now or 15 years after a team wins goes back and goes, well, they'll look at the road they had or they had to play X. They just remember them as champions. It has really the road for Carolina. It's kind of like what I said about the Knicks before. The Knicks don't get to the NBA Finals this year. With the way the road has worked out for them, it's going to be embarrassing. And I'm starting to think that about Carolina. If they don't make it to the Stanley Cup final this year, and they haven't since and they've had great teams now with Brind'Amour for the last 7-8 years, and they've always stubbed their toe in the playoffs. The road has set up for them, Paulie, that they've already up 2-0 on Philly. They're going to play a team in the East Final if they get there. Neither of them have any experience being there, Buffalo or Montreal. And I think they're better than no matter, even in that spot. This has to be the year he finally gets to the Stanley Cup final with this Carolina team. It just has to be.
Speaking on that path, right? So they shut Philly out in game 1, correct?
Yes, 3-0, I believe.
Then they were trailing 2-0 in game 2.
5 minutes in.
And then came back and killed them.
In overtime, they beat them. Yeah.
So that just took a lot of gas out of Philly, even though, you might say, it's 2-0, but I just think that was a killer game to lose. Because
you have to think about it this way now. It changes so much by Carolina winning that game, because now you have to look at it and say, do I really think that Philadelphia can beat Carolina 4 out of 5 games?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't think that. Did I think before game 1 that Philly could win some games and make it a series? I did. But now I think that they're just out of gas. I just think it's finished for them. Carolina's just,
let's give them credit.
Much better.
They're playing. This is a little better Carolina team than Brind'Amour's had in the past. I think a couple of good additions.
Right.
You're not going to turn around and tell me that, surprisingly enough, Keandre Miller has been a huge impact on the defensive side for them too.
And I think the other thing is, and I don't know if we've gotten the team to actually test them yet. And we're going to have, I think the only really good offensive team now that Carolina is going to have to play before getting to the final is Buffalo. But I need a good offensive team to test this Freddie Anderson too. I don't think he's any good, but
yeah, we all
Ottawa and Philly through 2 games really haven't done enough to give him any problems. So
Well,
Man,
this
can
is
you
going back.
imagine
Look,
if
I
you
agree
get
with you.
Freddie Anderson and Scott Wedgwood in the Stanley Cup Finals against
But
each
here
other.
again,
Borrelli.
this is probably a little bit of the difference here. Freddie Anderson actually has a pretty good defensive core in front of him,
Yes,
which
he
hasn't
does.
necessarily had in the
He
past.
does. I know.
So that's something that Brendan Moore and the organization
Still
addressed.
stinks.
Okay. Okay. Yes, and if and when they do get through Philly, and or I still think Buffalo or Montreal will give Carolina a good run.
I'm not saying they're going to get rolled over.
Yeah.
I'm saying I think that longer series, yes, but I think Carolina will find a way against one of those.
And I think
teams.
Carolina's going to finish this series early against Philly, and I think that Buffalo and Montreal might go 7.
So let's go there. Game 1 tonight in Buffalo. Montreal and the Sabres. Montreal off a game 7 in Tampa where they had 9 shots on goal and somehow escaped with a win. Now has to play this series with Buffalo. All the good vibes we've talked about with the Sabres all year. Amazing story. Now they've won a round. They're in the second round. This is a fun series. It really is. I think it's going to be a great series. They played some great games during the regular season, some back and forth crazy games. I'm rooting for Buffalo. I want to see them win, but I think you just said it. This series is going to have some distance to it. This is going to be back and forth, punch, 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 counter punch. I think more so than any of the other series in the second round. I think you could have some early exits now with Carolina and Colorado both up 2-0. And we'll get to the Ducks in Vegas in a second, but I don't know if that one has a lot of time to it either. This is going to be the series that kind of going to have to wave the flag for us here in the second round in terms of competitiveness and distance. I think it's this one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think more than anything, just being greedy, I hope it is 7 games. I think,
you don't want all 4 series to be washouts. And then,
So lots of things going on in this series too. Just great because they're so close to each other as far as the guys at Customs and the gals at Customs are going to be really busy with the fan bases crossing over on each side. That's going to be a blast. Obviously, the Buffalo fan base getting back in. They're rabid. That building's going to be insane. And we obviously know and have seen there's nothing better than playoff hockey in Montreal. So this is just going to be a lot of fun. And it does remind me, like you brought up last week too, it's old-time hockey, Adams Divisions type stuff. These are the series that we grew up with years ago. And it's just great to have it on tap here. And I think it's also going to be interesting to see how it does play out. I think Marty St. Louis has done an incredible job with this team.
Yes.
He's gotten, Canadians similar to even the Flyers prior to the 2 games have just gotten unreal goaltending. Look who they stepped up and stopped, and even with, again, not so much a lot of offensive scoring chances, but defensively, that seems to be one of the ways to go here. If you've got to be better in the nets and better defensively to get through these series. And stuff. So,
and they're going to, and I think that you're going to see that in this series. I've got the Sabres in 7.
Yeah. Do the Sabres have that? Do they have that gear that they can just, Will they? Can they go up 2 games on the Habs?
Well, look, but here's the other thing that
will the fan base
listen, the series went 6 games, so it's hard to say that it wasn't a tight series against Boston, but the Sabres did not have, the stress on them that Montreal played with in that Tampa series. They got to this point in much different ways.
Hedman being out of that series too was huge.
Yeah, of course. But this is going to be an outstanding series. And as far as Vegas goes, I said this on when I obviously doing the Bet River show before the game the other night. I said to Doug, the Ducks are in for a rude awakening because this is not going to be what they had with Edmonton. These wild games, 7-5, back and forth, up and down. I said the Knights and Tortorella are not going to allow that to happen. And sure enough, you saw a very buttoned up, disciplined, defensive performance from Vegas in that game 1, knowing that they have to slow the Ducks down. Now, say what you want, obviously the call, the non-icing that led to the Vegas goal, the go-ahead goal late in the third. That game looked like it had overtime on its mind when Vegas took the lead there. But I think that Vegas is going to be they're going to overwhelm. I think they're a much better team than Anaheim. I really do.
I mean, if you look, the Ducks outshot them 34-22 the other night.
They did.
They put a lot. Like I said, Carter had to stand on his freaking
Hart
head.
was good. He was good.
So,
but I don't think – I think that the Ducks can win a game or two in the series. But and maybe I'm buying into Vegas a little too quickly again because I was kind of getting down on them the way they played against Utah. And I was very impressed with how Utah played them in that series. And, the double overtime game crushed Utah. They were never recovering from that in Game 6 at home. Interesting to see. Now, if Anaheim comes out tonight, Paulie, and is able to find the net early and is able to build a lead, maybe we can. But I think if Vegas wins tonight, kind of similar to what we just said with Philly, could you really see Anaheim beating Vegas 4 out of 5 games? That would be very difficult for me to see. Very difficult.
Yeah, I think if Anaheim loses tonight, I agree with you there. I think that'll be tough. But I tell you, if Anaheim steals one tonight and they go back 1-1 to Anaheim, I think
it's anyone's game.
It's anyone's series.
I agree.
Yeah.
Tonight's huge. And it really is a pivotal game between these two. Two other things, NHL. Did you see the ratings for the first round? Up 70% for the NHL in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. In fact, I see Commissioner Gary Bettman waving his flag on television right now, talking about how great it is. Look, we get on hockey ratings all the time. I actually saw a clip from our good buddy, friend of the show, Dennis Bernstein, who we love. We love Denny. He comes on with us. Someone asked him about this, about the ratings. And he had a reason that I thought was actually pretty good. And his reasoning for the ratings being up was he thinks that the NHL in the United States is still riding the wave of Hughes overtime USA gold medal winner. And he thinks that interest is up in the country because of that. And they've gotten to kind of ride that here into the playoffs. I don't think it's the worst idea I've heard as to why the ratings are up.
Look what they're raving about. 1.7 million.
Okay, but I mean,
seriously.
But then we're talking about
Derby had 20 million people watching it last
that's
week.
a yearly one-off event that everyone watches every year. But
race.
Everyone talks about the Derby. It's a good thing that the numbers are up.
The numbers are a joke.
All right.
We were sitting here joking about they can't even get the Winter Classic. We were like, oh, they got the Winter Classic over 1 million. Give me a break. Come on. We talk about cover the NFL every year. I mean, the numbers are just insane. The Savannah Bananas are doing better numbers than the NHL.
Now, can I ask you a question about that?
The NHL's been around for 100 years.
You sent me that video.
They're raving about their ratings.
John's right. The Sabres are a national ratings juggernaut. They are. People watch the Sabres. You sent me that clip.
Tons of people in the Northeast. That's why they're getting those numbers.
You sent me that clip of that banana game at Texas A&M with 100,000 people. Did they actually play with the left field line, like 1 foot from the infield? Was it a homer or an out if you hit it to left field?
I don't know what the rules were,
because that's like a pop-up. It was a home run down the left field line. That was cool. And then it was like miles to the right field.
Yes.
I love that they did that because it plays with their motto. Like it plays with their different brand and fun and all that. They're in a different style of place, and the right field pole was from me to Tommy. I mean, it was unbelievable watching it. Right field poles down to the beach.
And the bananas are doing this every month. They're like a football team, and they're playing in front of 70, 80,000 people, and selling out. They're selling out stadiums of baseball teams that can't get sellouts. But getting back to the NHL ratings, give me a break. What are you gonna? Bravo! You got 1.7 million people watching.
So you don't care about the NHL ratings? You don't think Denny's right that people are into it because of the Olympics? You don't think
all right. So then they're in trouble, right? If you needed the Olympics, what are they going to do for the next 4 years?
But isn't that why they go there? They say to grow the game.
Sorry. Next, what we're going to do next April, May, we're going to come back here in the show. We're going to go. Let's see. A year away from the Olympics. Let's see what the ratings are.
All right.
1.6.
I'm almost out of time. And maybe we could do more on this tomorrow.
Give me a break.
Leafs win the draft lottery last night.
2 times they've not made the playoffs.
Get all your conspiracy theories all around. But I will tell you this. This McKenna, who's supposedly going to be the first pick. Now, I've heard people last night try to sell, oh, no, there's 3 guys, and there's a – you could bet your bottom dollar this McKenna is going to be the guy that the Leafs take.
Great.
This is the absolute worst thing that could ever happen to this kid, is that he goes their number 1 overall, because the amount of pressure and absolutely ridiculous expectations that will be put on this kid to save the franchise in a media market where he will be swallowed up by guys like Simmons. And listen, people are on Simmons for what he asked Jaika and Belly and them the other day. It was the right question to ask. I mean, could you sometimes word these things a little bit? No, but he comes right out and he says it. I talked to 20 people. 19 of them said this guy's a crook. Why are you hiring him? I mean, it was just, I must have talked to different people. He says up there, but we could do more on that tomorrow. But for the lottery, bad for McKenna. He's going to wish he was back at Penn State by Halloween. He's going to wish that.
First of all, yes, we should talk more about Toronto tomorrow. I would like to.
Man, this Chaika, what a start for him.
I mean, that too.
Sundin sitting up there like a statue. What did I get myself into? Sundin sitting up there on the dais.
I think it's just a little different. I think it's this is going to be similar to what Bedard's going on in Chicago here too. McKenna's going to come in here. He's going to put the sweater on. He's going to be proud to be a Maple Leaf. All that stuff's going to work, and then the kid's going to make bank as long as he produces and all that other stuff. So his future is going to be fine. I think Toronto as an organization is just absolute garbage. But they've built this grade for themselves over the last 10, 12 years with this core they've had anyway. So I think it's bigger than that. I think McKenna as an individual kid and stuff like that, look, he's going to play in Toronto. He's going to, just wish him the best. Yeah,
but I know you bring up Bedard, but Paulie, I'm telling you right now, it's different. Bedard can go into Chicago and be yes, he's looked to be the savior, but he is not the focus of every single media member in the city of Chicago. They're worried about the Bears. They're worried about the Bulls. They're worried about the Cubs. They're worried about in Toronto. You've seen what it's done to Matthews. It's broken him. Marner ran out of there the first chance he got. Yeah, he signed a deal before that. The second chance he got, Marner ran the hell out of there. This kid will be now. Everyone says he's a great, tough kid. All that he better be, because if he's the guy they take with the #1 overall pick, he's gonna wish he was back at Penn State by Halloween. They're gonna drive him nuts. And I'm look, it's different. Look, Schaefer went to the Islanders, which is not a lot of pressure.
We don't even know if McKenna's gonna make the roster, so he's has to go through training.
The #1 pick in the NHL draft should always make the roster.
No, it's not a guarantee.
Always. It's not like Celebrini going to San Jose where he can relax. And
Toronto's going to need him anyway to sell tickets.
That's no kidding. But that's just, you just added another thing. The pressure that's going to be on this kid. Schaefer didn't have it this year. Celebrini didn't have it the year before. When you put the pressure on these 18-year-old kids to come in a place like that, he's going to have 95 microphones in his face the first day of training camp.
You know what? If I was 18 getting drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs, even though it is a dumpster fire of an organization, I would love to have that opportunity. I think he'll be fine.
All right, we got to get out of here. Knicks tonight, game 2. I say Knicks win.
I say Sixers win 110-100.
Okay.
For the Dolan game.
For the Dolan game.
We'll talk more about that tomorrow.
Yankees win again tonight if they
Absolutely.
play. I heard there's rain tonight. Maybe we'll see. But
absolutely,
Yankees win again. All right, we're back.
What, the Mets win?
I think the Mets win tonight. Right. They're facing Michael Lorenzen. They better win. We're back tomorrow, noon East here at Borrelli's Taproom in Long Beach on the island. Carver and Cuthbert, Go Sports Radio. Enjoy all the games tonight. See you tomorrow.